Welcome to Hold and Modify, YouTube's most poorly produced, underproduced Amiga channel. And yeah, I'm in front of my Mac. I guess this is a spoiler.
This computer will rule the world.
Okay, so how many times have you seen this video where someone fires up WinUAE and shows you how to run an Amiga? Well, this is going to be one of those kind of videos, except, yeah, I know. Oh. Not everyone can afford Amigas. Anyone who watches my channel on a regular basis has said, Q, you've already made this video like 10,000 times. It's not 10,000 times. I've made this video a couple of times. And the thing is, every time I make these videos, I still get a bunch of comments where people are like, I don't understand anything you said. Can you please make another video? Amigas, I don't know if you've checked eBay or some of the groups lately. They're getting harder and harder and more expensive. Some of the lower end Amigas, like the Amiga 500, have dropped in price a little bit. But man, the big box Amigas, like the 3000s and the 4000s and those 1200s, well, the 1200 is not a big box Amiga, I understand that. But they're just getting, their values are maintaining. They're expensive. Okay, so yeah, okay, maybe you can get an Amiga 500 that's gonna have to boot from floppies, okay? Then you spend some money to get the adapters and all the kits to upgrade it to put a hard drive and an accelerator in it and that kind of thing. Maybe you're into it for under 500 bucks. Like a 3,000 or 4,000, forget about it. They're like $2,000, $3,000. It's absurd. Weirdly, the Amiga 2000 models, maybe because there's just so many of them, they're kind of in that weird Amiga 500 pricing zone where you can get an Amiga 2000 for maybe, if you're lucky and if you pay attention, for as low as like 600 bucks. And it works. Like, it's not one of those Amiga 2000s you see that says, 4 parts only. It actually works. And then you can get one with like some cards shoved in it for 800 bucks. I've been seeing this a lot more and more. But for some reason, the 3000 and the 4000 and then the Amiga, okay, well, there's the screensaver. Oh, Apple knows what I want. Apple knows everything I want. That's why they put the screensaver up. Calm down, Q. You need to calm down. You're just being too loud. Apple knows what I want. So yeah, we can't afford Amigas. So I make these videos. And yeah, I'm going to configure WinUAE. I'm doing it on my Mac because I'm lazy. And yeah, I have a whole room full of real Amigas that I could be showing you. And if you please just go back and look at all my other videos. I have lots of videos where I'm using my real Amigas, if that's your thing. But if you're like a lot of people and you just have no interest in spending thousands of dollars on 40-year-old computers, this is one way to do it, is the emulation. You can use FSUEE in Linux and Mac OS, or you can use WinUAE, which is way more up to date, has way more support, way more features, and you can also run it in Mac OS using, Wine, or in my case, Crossover down here, Crossover, which is, Wine. So that's what this video is. If you're still here and you're watching, I'm just going to quickly run through this because I've done it a million times, but that's the whole point. All right, so we're going to make this, really brief. One of the great things about WinUAE is that it has these awesome quick starts. So you go ahead and find your ROMs. This is important, by the way. You got to get your ROMs. And you can see here, if you click on this little system ROM settings, your main ROM file. So you click here, you got to point it to your ROM files. And as you can see, I have many ROMs. So you need to get your ROMs. And yeah, I spent all of my time. I actually purchased and owned all of this hardware you see here. And I've acquired all these ROMs using hardware ROM rippers. It's very tedious, but I did it. So if you don't have all these, no, you don't need all these, but I'm just saying that if you have these, you can have the most fun, okay? So get your ROM files, that's a thing. And then of course get your Workbench files or your games and whatever you need. You gotta find that stuff. And like I said, this isn't a WinUAE for Dummies video. I'm just trying to go over and show you that, idiots like me can run WinUAE on a Mac. Go to the quick start, pick a system like 4000. Look at all the systems here. You just pick these things. American Laser Games Picmatic. Okay, macro system. Oh, macro system. There are some things in here, folks, that I am woefully undereducated on. My goodness. But you go in here, you pick your thing, and if you just did this, okay, if you just picked this, like A4000, and you hit boot, of course it's going to yell at you and say, look, man, here's a kickstart screen. You need to install a hard drive, and you do all that. So yes, you need to create a hard drive. So you go to the hard drive button that says hard drive. And the best and easiest way to do it is you want to create a hard file. So click on this button. See where it says hard file here? This little button says add hard file. This is where you can either pick a hard file that you already have. So like if we go here, we click this little button here. Look, I have all these HDF, these hard files right here. See these? These are basically ISOs kind of in a way. So I've got all these already created, but what you can do is if you don't have those, go down here. So the same thing that lets you pick the ISO or the HDF files or the hard files, you can just create it. So like I'm going to create a 500 meg hard file. It's going to be here. These are the potential file systems you can do. See here, you can already pre-pick the potential file system. So I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to touch any of this stuff. And you just smash the create button. Boom. It's going to say save it. I'm going to call this delete me. Done. There you go. Now you've got your hard file. So now when you go okay, so now we have a hard drive, right? And we've got our ROM because I have all the ROMs as I showed you. So what happens if you click start right now? What's going to happen? Let's go ahead and click start. It's going to go boom, JIT, serious error. Oh, because I'm trying to use JIT using Crossover, which is an emulator. And this is what happens. Isn't this fun? Look at this. Look at this. This is like the Matrix in real life. Isn't that awesome? Let's go ahead and just do that and quit that out. So there you go. Let's go ahead and fire up the old WinUE again. Let's go to Quick Start 4000. And since I didn't save, guess what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to go back to the hard drive. Oh, look, it's gone. But see, when you go to add hard file now, I don't have to create it. I can just go pick it. So I'm going to go pick delete me, click OK. Then I'm going to go down to chipset, advanced chipset. Nope. ROM. Nope. Don't care about ROM. It's going to pick the right ROM for me. RAM. It already did all this for you. It does. So when you do the quick start here, it configures a lot of this stuff. But there are some things it doesn't configure quite correctly. And that's going to be JIT, which I'm not finding because I'm stupid. It's in the first queue. It's under CPU and FPU. It's the very first thing. So apparently the quick start, let's change it. Let's go to like 500 or 600 and let's change it back to 4000. Yeah. So the preset is turning JIT on. Now it's probably doing that because that makes it the fastest possible. I'm using WinUE on a Mac because I'm stupid. So we're going to have to turn that off because that doesn't work. So we're going to use the 16040, CPU internal. That's all this stuff is fine. So now when we click start, we won't crash and this is what you're going to get. Why are you going to get this? Well, dummy, you didn't give it a Workbench disk. You need the Workbench disk. So it's asking for, a Workbench disk. So we got DF0 here. We can go ahead and smash this button. And then what you're going to go do is go find your Workbench install floppy, your Workbench floppy, your extras, your local, all of the stuff, whatever version of the Workbench you're going to install. You're going to go through and do all of that and put the floppies in. It's going to do the classic Amiga. Look at me, I'm loading floppies. Isn't that awesome? You're going to go through that whole process to finally get yourself back to a point where eventually you're going to reboot, you're going to load, and guess what? You're going to have an Amiga that boots up, even on a Mac, under WinUE, the best emulator possible for Amiga. So yeah, here we go. We've got Workbench. In this case, we're using, what is this? This is 3.2.2.1. Okay, there you go. See, we've got this. And this is all under WinUE, running under emulation under Wine on my Mac. Okay, so yeah, all the fun stuff. Yes, the music works. You probably can't hear it. Maybe you can. It's difficult because I have a microphone. But yeah, it works. It doesn't freak out or do anything weird. All the like crazy stuff like this weird program which no one ever understands. You can go ahead and load this up. This does stuff. See it? Look, that does stuff in real time. That works. Isn't that neat? Yay, that works. It's cool. But so it's legit. It works. And you can do all this and save yourself a ton of money, like an absurd amount of money. You don't need to be buying real Amigas for $3,000 and to use an Amiga when you can just emulate the damn thing. And yes, even on a Mac. Now, if you've watched my videos, you've heard me talk about, just using FSUEE on the Mac. It is. FSUE is actually really good. It's great. It gives you the great, kind of a sample of Amiga life, on your Mac without any hassles. But it's not the most up-to-date, feature-packed Amiga emulator. It doesn't have all of the Amiga stuff, right? So that's why I got the program Crossover, which is Wine, which is a Windows emulator for Linux and Mac OS, whatever, that allows me to install WinUAE, the Windows version of Amiga emulation, so that you get a much better, more accurate, more feature-packed, and also more supported Amiga emulator. And that's why I made this video. Now, if you're going to emulate, the Amiga on your Mac through WinUAE and Wine, is it going to be the fastest Amiga emulation? No, not at all. If you run FSUAE, it will be much faster. It'll be like, PyStorm or PyMega fast. Or, when you run this kind of emulator with Wine on your Mac and you use WinUAE, it's going to be more like an Apollo Amiga. It's going to be in that zone. I mean, you can see right here, look at the dry stones. You can see, look, these are really impressive. I mean, 56 MIPS, 18 MFLOPS. This is actually kind of like 68060 speeds, really, for the 68040 that it's actually, supposed to be. So that's not terrible. I mean, that's not terrible. But it's not going to be the fastest. But it's going to be, if you're running WinUAE, you're going to be the most compatible and have the most features. So I hope that, I hope that makes sense, is why anyone would do this. And I hope you've enjoyed just sitting here listening to me ramble and talk about Amiga stuff, because that's really all this video is about. For those of you that stuck around, you know that that's pretty much all this has ever been about, is me just sitting here and rambling. So let's get to the outro, the ending of this video. Okay, so there you go. You saw me going through using the WinUAE emulator with Crossover, and yeah, Crossover right there. You can download this. They've got this, website you can go to. Can I figure it out? Let's go to Crossover Help. Is that going to take me to their website? No, of course not. It takes me to an internal document file. But yeah, I'm using like Crossover. Was it version 24 now? It works great for this. And yeah, and as you can see, I've got some other stuff in here. Quake, Steam, some other things. I play Fallout 4 on here using this Crossover software. So yeah, I'm pitching the whole WinUAE thing because it does work on this. But Crossover does allow you to do a lot of other, cool stuff. In fact, if see this button down here, it says install, you can just click install, and it gives you some of the latest things people are playing right here. And then you can go up here in the little search box. And guess what? When I actually typed in, look, WinUAE, look at that. It actually shows up, WinUAE. 5 stars. See? Look at that. So they know what you're doing. They know what you're doing. Anyway, I just wanted to say thanks for watching this video. If you did, I know it's not my usual sitting in front of all my Amigas, the real ones, and doing stuff, but this is important for some people, and I wanted to share it. It's really important. And this is a really messy desktop, by the way. I know fancy speakers, and there's a mouse for some reason. He uses a trackpad, he's got a mouse, and I don't know what the hell that is. That's a beer. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching. I'm done with this video.